Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the PHNX Rising podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. My name is Ramon Chavez, and as always, my partner, Owen Evans. How you doing, sir?
Not too bad. I feel like we're missing something today, though, aren't we?
I think sometimes by losing something, you gain something else, though.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that one.
So we don't have Edwin today. That's what we're trying to say. But we do have El Second Jefe, because I usually call Edwin El Jefe. But Sean DePaz, how you doing, sir?
I'm lovely. How are y'all doing?
I like that. I don't know if that's a gaming set or your regular set, but I like it. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, we did say the last time that Sean was with us that he was actually here to replace Edwin. And you know what?
And it happened.
He has,
Day
yeah.
by day, I'm coming for Edwin's
That's what happens
spot.
when you try to take the seat. You know?
Give it another 2 or 3 weeks and he's going to be sitting right there.
Or there's another seat over there.
There's another seat by there, actually.
We can make it 3, yeah. So.
Me? I'm coming for one of your spots?
Do it. Well, no, we got the extra
No, we got
seat,
the free one,
you know?
though. We got the free one, yeah.
All right. Fair, I'll take that.
But we appreciate you, Sean. Thank you so much for filling for El Jefe Edwin.
Of course.
All right, y'all. So, yeah, we had a very eventful week. We're going to talk about that in a little bit later on. But I do want to shout out everybody on the chat right now. Michael, Emma over there commenting. We appreciate all of you. And if you guys haven't yet, please like, share, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Our Twitter's blowing up. PHNX YouTube channel's blowing up. So the more you can help us out to grow, the more people we can have on the channel and on the shows, and just be a good time. Have everybody on here. So, but yeah, we'll be talking about the game, the loss that happened on Saturday against Las Vegas in Las Vegas, the antics that happened.
We promise it'll be a lot more football than just the constant talk about nonsense.
There you go. But yeah, there were antics before, during, and after the game, unfortunately. And then we have some updates from today's press conference from Owen, and then also some updates around the USL. And then we can't talk about soccer and not, take into mind that it's World Cup qualifying this week. Yes. So it's going to be a lot of fun for Owen because he's got Wales, this week on Thursday, right? That's when
Thursday, yeah.
And then, of course, Mexico plays the USA on Thursday as well. So Thursday's a big day. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and get started. And actually, before we get started, 2 Rising players have birthdays today, which is I thought was kind of odd. They're both on the same day.
Indeed, Kevin Lambert and Aiden Quinn. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kevin Lambert is turning 25, and then Aiden Quinn is 30. So pretty good stuff over there. But yeah, happy birthday if you guys are watching us or ever catch this show. Hope you guys had a great birthday. I saw that you guys you caught a video of them putting water on them or something.
Yeah, they do that every time there's a birthday at training. They run through like effectively a tunnel and just get squirted with every possible form of water. I mean, I know that Darnell, I think was in the back with a hose.
Oh, he had a hose?
Yeah, and then James Musa was just throwing water bottles like.
I think we should do that here at PHNX. Whenever someone's birthday,
we've got a lot of equipment. Maybe just throwing water.
Sean will probably throw a camera. Yeah.
I mean, what do you think, Sean?
I would definitely be down to do it. I think we should just pretend that it's some people's birthday and douse them with water anyways.
We'll catch Edwin next time when he comes in.
Yeah, next time Edwin comes in.
I like the sound of that.
All right, y'all. So let's get started with the show. Let's talk about the loss last Saturday in Las Vegas against Las Vegas. Owen, you were there, so I want to know your opinion. But just to recap, it was the second ever win for Las Vegas Lights over Phoenix Rising. They had 13 previous meetings and only their second ever win. Phoenix lost 2-1 by goals of Donnie Trejo, who was the USL Player of the Week, had a fantastic game. Casada in minute 68, and then our very own Claudio Repettio scoring in minute 68 from an assist from Joey Calistri. So before we talk about the shenanigans that happened, let's talk about the field and the game for a little bit. So how did you see
Did you say
Rising...
talk about the field? I thought we weren't talking about the shenanigans yet, But
overall, how did you see Rising play?
Look, I think the thing that does sum this up, it's easy to say, they went to an underdog, bad field. They played a kind of smash and grab kind of game, all of this kind of nonsense. Look, they actually had a higher expected goals tally than Rising did. It actually somewhat reflected the scoreline. So while Rising had a lot of the ball, did they create a lot with it? No, they did not. There were a lot of moments, and some of the times we were unlucky. Right, that Aiden Quinn free kick. Oh.
Yeah, it would have been great.
It bounces off the post. It comes back off the keeper's his head or his back or something.
It just bounces right out.
And just bounces out of play. When something like that is happening, it's not your day. But look, there was a lot of spells of possession where Rising had the ball. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were really struggling, I know, on the crossing. The crossing was just poor. Yeah. Vegas was packing a lot of the middle of the park. They had a lot of players back, were willing to let Rising cross it in when Rising weren't succeeding very well in crossing. If I'm not mistaken, I think both Marcus and Santi were 1 out of 7 crosses each.
Mm-hmm.
So crossing was just not there.
Yeah.
And once you've taken away that wide threat, it just meant there were a lot of spells with the ball in traffic in the final third, in the penalty area, and it wasn't really moving around. They weren't really creating many good chances, a lot of blocked shots.
Mm-hmm.
I think there were only 4 shots on target.
From the first half, there was only 1 shot on target, 9 in total during the first half, and then Rising had 60% of the possession. It went up a little bit higher in the second half, but 3 shots on target and then 12 shots overall. So exactly how you're saying, they had the ball, they just couldn't create the spaces. There wasn't much, spaces given by Las Vegas because they were sitting really, tight in the back, and then kept their composure. Whenever Phoenix was trying to do something, they quickly extinguished whatever attack they were trying to formulate. So it honestly, it's one of those frustrating games where, like a free kick might not go in, and that could determine whether you go home with the point or not.
I mean, it's kind of like, we were talking before, I can't remember exactly when, about possession and, is not having the majority of the possession something that worries you. And in that case, I know we were talking about, if you're passing it around at the back, you're not hugely worried about whether you've got all of the ball or not. Mm-hmm. But when you've also are restricting the opposition to having just poor quality shots, and that's what they were. Even though Rising had more shots overall, I believe, than Vegas, a lot of them were poor quality shots. They were not high quality, high likelihood of resulting in goals kind of shots. And so in that kind of a situation, if you want to keep smacking them, keep smacking them. If they're not going on target, why is the problem? If there's a slew of bodies in the way, again, it's...
Yeah, no, and you can see it on the stats. 21 total shots for Rising, 4 on target, 6 for Las Vegas on target. Off target, Rising with 9, and then block shots 8 for Rising. So you can definitely tell right there. And then one of the things that I was noticing as well is because I don't know whether that was one of the game plans that they had, but Vegas did a really good job in shutting down Santi more because, like you're saying, he started doing more crosses, less, going with his right foot and cutting in. And because I think he saw it, that there was just a wall of humans just trying to stop every shot that he took. So definitely something frustrating that night.
I think the thing that's important to note on that is that the I forgot his name is. I'm sorry, I'm going to absolutely butcher this. It's Morten Bjørsskjold, I think, the Norwegian kid who was at who was on that.
Yeah.
What is it?
Right back? Yeah, the right back.
Yeah, right back. I was forgetting my sides then for a second. Yeah, the right back. He really played a really good game, and he did nullify him. If you actually look at a lot of the heat map and the touch map, you see that Rising were forced to go to the other side because Bjørsskjold was really countering the kind of like cut inside kind of threat that Santi has. And it forced him to try and turn himself into a kind of crossing winger, which isn't him.
Yeah.
He doesn't. What he worries you with is when he cuts inside. And causes problems then because he could shoot or there's someone else there that he could pass it to. He really wasn't putting in a good game crossing wise.
Yeah. When it came to the first goal, Donny Trejo impressed me. I know he's from LAFC. He got drafted by them, but I think he kind of looked a step above everybody on the field, and he just ran circles around Rising. He had a big, obviously he made the first goal, pass from Cal Jennings. What happened during that first goal, Owen? Because it looked like Kevin Lambert was trying to play it back to Joey Farrell or Madrid, if I'm not correct. But from that point, they were caught out of position. Madrid tried to recover, and he wasn't able to get to Trejo's shot in time. So is that when you start asking, like, hey, when's Musa back? When stuff like that happens?
That's a bit harsh, but I think that in that kind of situation, it's always tough. No matter who was there, it was going to be tough. The thing that's worth remembering is that in that point, you've got they're tracking back soon, and it is Madrid who's probably got to try and watch the ball in that kind of case. He's constantly, if you watch the video back, looking back. He's looking across to see that I believe there was another player that was coming up as well, and he's almost in two minds about where he's going. And the result is that despite the fact that he was in probably a position that he should have gotten to that ball first, he didn't. And so Trejo was able to tuck it away, but. Look, centre backs, especially at this level, you don't get the full gamut of everything that you want. You're not getting someone who's going to be a good ball player and good at reading the opposition and quick. You've kind of got to pick and choose. look, if players are that good, they're not playing in
They're
USL.
not gonna play in the USL,
like,
yeah.
and maybe that's a bit harsh on the league, but it's true, right? No one chooses, no one wants this to be the peak of their career. There are a lot of higher up leagues that you can go to.
Yeah.
But look, I think it was just a bit of a breakdown there. The problem with that is that, I mean, Vegas all night were just quick.
Yeah.
And that front three, and again, I know I said it on Saturday night, but, Danny Trejo, I didn't expect him to be the difference maker. But as part of a front three with him, Danny Masovsky, who's a very good player, and Cal Jennings, you've just got a lot of pace there. And when you're up against the centre-back that maybe doesn't quite have that same kind of pace in Manuel Madrid, it does open up gaps.
Yeah, and I think that's what Vegas was saying. You know what? Let them have the ball. We're going to use our speed to our advantage, and it worked out in that first goal. Now, the second goal, that's the one where I'm like, okay, this is inexcusable. This is lack of effort, lack of energy. It came off a goal kick on, a long goal kick from the Vegas keeper. I think it was Cal Jennings that was able to get his head on it, give it to Danny Trejo, and then Trejo, nobody came to mark him, and then he just found the lane for a trailing Casada for the second goal. Tell me about that one. Is that the same feeling that you got, frustration?
I think it's that thing where until I watched it back, you didn't quite realize that you had all those players grouped. And it was almost like you have two players already looking at Trejo. You had Joey Farrell, who was also coming up, and he was also looking at Trejo. And yet he should really probably been paying a little bit more attention to the player right behind him who ends up taking it away, right?
That's where you say, you get him, I'm going to get this guy.
Yeah, and so you had a collection of players right around the one guy.
Yeah.
So he just slots it over to another guy who's in a lot of space. I mean, I know there's more to it than just that. That wasn't the only error in there, and we did, I was able to speak to Farrell today about that, and he spoke about what went wrong on the goals in his mind.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll look at that shortly, but yeah, it's just the way they were frustrating because they were just that little bit of sloppiness. And I know that, right, the sloppiness on a field like that is naturally going to be a part of the game. It's not really a surface for a crisp passing game, but, you just have to hope overall that you're going to get better.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what Farrell said. So if you have that video, let's go ahead and cue it up.
Yeah, it's just whenever you concede a goal, it's always one or two simple mistakes that turn into the other team capitalizing. And I think the first goal, it was just a little turnover in the midfield, and we tried to recover as quickly as we could, but it was a quick 2v1. It wasn't necessarily the whole field transition. And then the second goal, it was a little flick on that we need to either win the first ball or destroy the play and either cause a foul or something on the second ball. And we didn't do either, and then they came down the middle and scored again. Besides that, I think we didn't make too many mistakes. I think they just capitalized on the two that we really did, and they punished us.
Yeah, so great words there from Farrell. And I think the players recognize the mistakes that were made, and looking back on it a few days later, I think they understand what happened during the game, and I'm sure they're going to work for it not to happen again.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because in that one he's talking about the first ball and the second ball on that second goal, and just Rising actually did win more challenges in the air than they lost in that game, but sometimes it's the ones you lose that can really hurt you in a case like that.
Yeah, and then talking about Rising's goal, which came in the 77th minute, the ESPN feed was atrocious, so I couldn't really see it because they were doing a replay. And then all of a sudden, Repettio scored, and I see Santi grab the ball and running back. So I'm like, "What the heck happened?" But
Thanks,
were you able to see it on the pitch?
On the pitch, I actually thought it was better finished than it was. Having watched it back since, I think the goalkeeper probably should have gotten to that. It effectively went like right under his, core, pretty much, didn't it?
Yeah.
He probably should have stopped that one. But look, again, this is what I said before. When you're a striker, even if you don't have the best of games, you get a goal. It's big. And good strikers will score even when they're not having a great game. So, look, he found a way to get the goal. Can you really fault him for it?
Yeah. I'm seeing here his stat. He only had 2 shots on target and the one that went in. So
yeah, and I mean, look, Claudio's debut, or not debut, I believe, because he did come off the bench.
Yeah,
but his first start was not the kind of performance I think he's going to want to replicate. overall, if we ignore the goal, it was really not his best performance. And I mean, as Michael said, Hurst was missed, right? And I think that's perfectly fair. If you look at what he did in the game, did he win a lot of balls in the air? Yes. Yes, he did, right? And you expect that out of a guy who is a target 9. He should be winning a lot of balls in the air, but he didn't really maintain possession from those.
Yeah.
His passing accuracy in the opposition half was poor. It was less than 50%. Ben Lundt completed more passes to the opposition half than Claudio Repettio. Oh, sorry. His completion rate was higher than Claudio Repettio's. And for Ben Lundt, that means that he's booting him up.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's
not good.
It's not really good enough. And that then, causes you a lot of problems because, yes, you might win that first ball, but you're not winning the second. If you're not winning the second, how are you going to build anything? And once you kind of take away the threat that he poses because, he didn't take many shots. He was effectively a coin toss on whether his ball was actually going to get to a teammate or an opponent. Actually slightly weighted coin toss towards the opponent when he was up there. It causes you problems because now you are having to look wide. And again, I think I did say this earlier where it was just, Vegas had a lot of bodies down the middle of the park. And that will cause problems for him. But look, it wasn't a great performance overall. You've just got to hope that, he takes the confidence out of the goal, takes that forward, and from there,
Yeah, at halftime, I was like, you know what? I think Rick will probably maybe give him like 10, 15 more minutes, see if something happens, 20 tops, and then no changes.
It was Greg not being fully fit. That was
we
the
didn't
problem.
know that, though. We didn't know that during the game. So people were like, well, where's Hurst? Because he did such a great job the previous game. And for him not to come on the field at all, that and obviously with Rising being down, they're like, okay, well, come on, where's the change? And didn't come through. Michael there, he says, I don't think any of our forwards had a good game. I thought Epps had a decent game. Santi not his best game, but I think...
See, I'm not sure that I thought Epps did have the best of his game. Look, and it wasn't a game, again, that would suit him. I mean, look, these guys, when you're out wide, it's hard, but, he couldn't get the crosses in.
Yeah.
He created a few chances, but really anything of note? I mean, what stood out to you, I guess, from his performance?
I think he was able to face off a couple of times through dribbling, but I don't think any of the Rising players were able to connect with each other. And I think that was the main part of the issues during that game, that once they got the initial touch, like Repettio, or they got by the initial defender, they weren't able to just connect with anybody else. So Calistri, I thought, did a way better job once he came in. And it's
energy, isn't it? Sometimes at that point,
it's the type of game he needs to be in.
Exactly. I mean, they call him Clutch Calistri for a reason, right? He comes on late in games. Apart that, he's just a bag of energy, right? You send him out there, he runs around, and he can make things make things go. And
we gave the
assist. Stats, his stats are better than any of the others. I mean, just to speak to Marcus Epps, we were talking about did he create any chances? He did actually create 4 chances, but again, his passing accuracy in the opposition half was low. 57.9% according to USL. So
has to be better.
Yeah. It's...
Speaking of accuracy, when it came to the midfield, Arturo Rodriguez, 42 out of 48 passes completed, 88% in the midfield playing his position. That's really good.
He's a very good player.
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's still space to grow. I think that he got very frustrated out there that night. For reasons that I'm sure we'll touch on later. He's always been a bit of a fiery character, right? He does love to go out and argue. But look, for reasons that we'll touch on later, I think he was justifiably not in the best of moods, probably.
Yeah, wouldn't be either.
But it's good to see him playing well, but he's always capable at an X level, and I think what we saw from him was a player who is capable of playing well, but he didn't manage to effectively put the team on his back in a way that we are used to seeing guys like Santi sometimes in a poor performance would put the team on his back, go out and get the goal or a really, really good assist. And that's kind of the difference between someone who's a good player and someone who's an MVP. And I think that what we saw from Arturo was someone who's a good player. We didn't necessarily see that kind of MVP shining through.
That next step. Aiden Quinn, we named him the DraftKings player of the game, but looking at the game, a couple of days later, I thought Ben Lundt was actually the MVP of the team. He had a few saves that literally kept Rising in the game, especially one with Cal Jennings right before their second goal. And if it wasn't for him, it would have been 4-0, 3-0 at one point. So.
Yeah, he made 4 saves, and some of them were very big saves.
Yeah.
Look, I know that there was a little bit of commentary on Lundt on Twitter. I think one guy saying on there, "Oh, is he really up to it? Is he a bit of a not a bit of a letdown?" No, I think that's really harsh. I think that ultimately, when you're in a kind of one-on-one situation, which he almost really was on that first goal, the odds aren't always stacked in the keeper's favor.
And I think he was waiting for Madrid to either commit to Trejo or cut him off or do something else, and I don't think that's why he came out either. So there was that lack of communication as well on that side.
Yeah. Look, I think that anyone really criticizing Lundt for those goals is off the mark.
Yeah.
I think that he's a remarkable goalkeeper, to be perfectly frank. There's a reason that he won USL Goalkeeper of the Year in the past, and even even looking at this season, he's made some good saves. Yes, there've been some goals that have gone against him, but look, you're not going to save all of them.
I want to say something about Ben Lundt because he's really nice. Like, we're on the pitch before the game, he's always making sure to say hi. So, kind of get intimidated because he's really tall, but really good guy as well.
Big guy.
Yeah, he's a big guy and good guy, yeah. You did ask Babu about what Rick said to the players after the game in the locker room. I really like some of these Babu responses because not that I knew anything about him beforehand, but his responses, seem like a player that's really mature and willing to listen and to grow. So I'm really interested to see if you guys, what you guys think about it. So if you have that video.
What were the words said in the locker room after it?
Not something that, we want to hear as players, because at the end of the day, we get paid to do this, and it's not just a job, it's passionate to us. And when we perform like that, we deserve nothing less but honest truth from coach, and it's not acceptable. So we tend to not repeat that anymore, no matter what the circumstances are. It's not going to happen again. But football comes with, wins and losses, so you got to accept both and grow and mature. But have short memory of the bad moments and, move away from them and focus on the best ones that you're ready to make.
I'm actually really glad to hear that. I think that, we came off of that game saying, look, the sky isn't falling, all of that stuff. But at the same time, you have to remember, and especially for some of the newer players need to really know this, is that this is not a club that will accept poor performances, right? They happen. Of course they'll happen. But the key thing is you have to respond to that, because if Rising turn around and put in a performance on Saturday like they did against Vegas Lights, not only are they going to lose again because they're playing a good team in San Diego, they're going to really, you see a lot of negative backlash. It happens. It happens after one loss. This isn't a club that tolerates mediocrity. They expect to be challenging for the trophy every single year. And so, look, I'm glad that the boys have, I'm not glad about the result. I don't think anyone is glad about the result. I don't think anyone is glad about how that game went. But I'm glad at least to hear the reaction afterwards, and to have seen some of that reaction afterwards and see the frustration, the fact that it does really mean something to the boys, and they seem to get it, at least. Sometimes that's all you can ask, is that they get it.
No, definitely. And, some people would say, oh, it's a PR response. We're going to play better the next game. We're mad. No, like I can genuinely tell.
He was straight there. The result wasn't acceptable, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
And like you're saying, this club does not tolerate that. There's expectations, and I don't know if he had that clip, but I know in another response he said, I came here to become better. Yeah. And if I can't cut it here, then I might as well just pack my bags, because that's why I came here to become a better player.
Yeah. I mean, we to Michael's point, I believe the last time the team actually lost 2 in a row, we've been discussing this. 2018, right at the end of that season. Yeah. Vegas Lights was the first, and then it was Portland Timbers. Portland Timbers 2 in the final regular season game, I think, and then it was they won in the playoff game and obviously went to the final thereafter. Yeah, and you're right. This team does not lose multiple games in a row. It's just not who they are.
Obviously, Rick was upset about what happened after the game. Rising was about to get a corner kick, and I expected them to get that corner kick because there was a lot of stuff going on that granted a little bit more time. Ref called the game. Lights automatically went off. even the ESPN announcers, I'm sure there were the Las Vegas announcers, they didn't really want to acknowledge what was going on because I'm sure it was odd to them too. But
I'll say in their defense, they were probably in Florida.
Okay.
But I'm not sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But it wouldn't surprise me if they were from Vista. I don't think they were on site.
But overall, it was just weird. Having watched soccer for so long, you're just like, what's going on? Right after the game, they're just gonna cut him off?
Yeah, it was bizarre because the Rising's players were actually surrounding the referee at that point, and it was concerning a little bit because don't get me wrong, you always want to see that passion, you always want to see that frustration. You always worry that little bit, don't you, in a situation like that something might spill over. And the last thing you want ever to see is a card, yellow or red, coming after the final whistle because someone couldn't control their own temperament. It's an utter waste of a card. Let's be honest. And it comes along with then is a fine down the line if you get yellows, or you can be suspended down the line if you're getting yellows. And obviously if you get a red, then this suspension comes along with that.
Yeah.
But the lights going off was weird. I'm sure. Are we going to touch on the gimmicks now, or do you want to do it later?
Yeah,
you want to do it now? Oh my god!
I know you've been waiting for this one. Let it go.
Let's. Dottie wasn't there at least. Look.
Thank you, Sean.
You know what? Can we? I know I've posted some of these videos on Twitter. I feel like it was necessary to just go back. Can we get Rick on this?
Look, I'm not even thinking about them right now. I've got to make a few phone calls. This is ridiculous. It's as soon as the game ended, they turned the lights out. You got players fighting on the field. There's guys running out there with flashlights. It's I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. I asked the referees before the match to evaluate the field. They called it safe. We had a player slide off the field into a wood frame bed on the sideline. I mean, this is unbelievable. I get it. It's a circus. We all laugh when you come here and you win games, but now it sounds like I said, it sounds like sour grapes. I'm disappointed in our performance, and we showed fight too little, too late.
Yeah, I mean,
the first
and
thing
that was this is the best part, right? Is that was in response to a question. It wasn't a question from me. It was actually a question from the club, from the social guy there, about what are you going to do, or what are you thinking about now, putting this behind you and looking towards San Diego next week. And that was the answer that we got. I mean, that was also the point that the club stopped asking questions and just left it to me. Because
let me
you're
ask
not getting
you
anything
this.
out of Rick after that game.
Let me ask you this, because one of the first points when he's answering the question, he's saying, we asked the refs to check on the field. They said it was fine and it was playable. Now, does this become a league problem if even the refs are saying, you know what, this is fine, and we're going to play on this field, even though everybody's saying, hey, man, like, it's not.
You know what? It depends what the question or what parts of the question you're asking there.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the quality of the actual field itself. Now, let's get this straight. That pitch was poor. That was really,
What
really
did you
poor.
call it on?
Benedict. It's Benedict Sports Complex.
Good old
yeah.
Benedict.
I mean, look, I know we've all joked about the llama doing llama relieving itself
Their
on the
business,
field,
yeah.
but I'm just saying that if Dolly had decided to drop one on the pitch, it might have lightened the place up a little bit, right? It was that bad.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, look, you've got to think about, is it playable? Yeah, it's playable, right? Like, it wasn't. It could have been a lot worse.
And that's what I worry about, because you have those mattresses on the edge of the field. My girlfriend sat down and watched the first half with me, and she's like, why are there kids in mattresses jumping on the side of the field?
It's just, yeah.
You can see them there on the left-hand side. It's just atrocious, man. This is supposed to be professional soccer.
Yeah, the mattresses, what is it? The best sleep in the house. I'm not sure that's how you sell your football team. Like, I mean, if I want to go and sleep, I won't.
I mean, Mattress Firm is doing their thing.
And I especially won't do it at Cashman Field when you're blaring music while the ball is in play.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're taking this party
they're dangerous.
thing.
They're dangerous. Those things, they'll say what they like, and people will be, oh, but it's only a mattress. Oh, it's further away in the ad boards. Yeah, but you got people there.
Didn't Madrid hit himself?
Madrid fell on one of them, you
Yeah.
know, and it's a wooden bed under there.
Yeah.
I mean, even last October when they were doing this, a kid got blasted, right, over by there.
I shouldn't laugh, but
No, Yeah, we've already established from our last game here in Phoenix, you don't like children at games.
No, here's the thing. It's
when
okay,
you blanked that one that wanted to just high five you,
No, it's because when the kids are at games, I feel like they should be like part of the game. So, for example, baseball, right? Obviously, there's a ball, flying at 200 miles per hour if they hit it with the bat or whatever, and people are complaining, hey, I might get hit by this baseball. Then pay attention to the game. You're there to watch the game, and if you get hit, then that's because you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? That's the only reason. So they're like, more nets, more this. No, pay attention to the game.
Yeah, I get that, but look, it's just stupid. It's way too close. It's wound a lot of people up. And I know that from just chatting today. Look, Rick did make the phone calls to the league, or he got the general manager to make those phone calls.
And you've talked about fines in the past, though. Is anything going to happen? Is this just gonna? Are we going to talk about this again when they get to the play one more time?
I've been chasing over certain bits of this for even a response out of. I wanted to ask on the night. I was asking on the night if Lights were going to give a statement on any of this, and all that was happened was they just forwarded on to, you've got to email the owner. That's the only guy who can speak is Brett Lashbrook, apparently. And Brett just chooses to ignore us. Yeah. So
pay the fine,
emailed several times now.
Yeah.
They won't give any more information. It is what it is, right? But look, will the league do something? Who knows? I don't feel that there is a great confidence from people inside the club that the league will. And that's a problem, right? I mean, USL, we need to talk seriously about USL and the way that it handles some of these things. Is that USL is a weird entity. We all are used to a degree of the leagues being owned by their teams or by a national federation type thing. In this case, USL is owned by a real estate company. Okay? Like, seriously now, it's owned by a separate entity that makes profit outside of football. It used to be owned by Umbro, I believe. It's a weird situation to have a league that's owned by a separate entity. And so, sometimes these things just are strange. I mean, it is what it is.
They're counting on the clubs to police themselves, kind of make sure that they don't do anything crazy.
It's strange because they do... Look, they break rules over certain things. People will ask, well, what rules are they breaking? Well, there's restrictions on when you can play music and when you can do ad reads and all kind of nonsense like that. And Vegas just ignores. They were playing music with the ball in play.
20 ad reads during that broadcast. That was insane.
But it just, even when we get into it, you've got to consider that some of that stuff is stupid. Some of that stuff is tacky and frustrating. And you don't like it. Look, football is, as a sport, very set in its ways. We don't do most of the zany stuff.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen in this sport. And so, some of it will frustrate us regardless of whether it's a serious problem or not. Now, it becomes a serious problem when it's distracting to an excessive amount, like making noises when a shot on goal is taken. It becomes a problem when you've got, people like the in-game host. And just to be clear, I think there are two people. One of them is they've described him in a news article up there as a hype man before. He's the
guy on the field, right?
Yeah, the guy on the field with a mic who went around, he does a load of other sports up in Vegas as well. But, when he's making the comments like he did about Arturo, there was an announcement before the game saying that, things like, comments of a racist or homophobic or sexist nature won't be tolerated. And they just go and do it. They do it as a club.
Yeah.
Right? Aren't we past this by now? Seriously now. Like, what kind of a message does it send from even a USL perspective that something like that could be tolerated? And this is it. Unless anyone's going to come out and actually talk about this, then it could well be tolerated. We don't know. And I haven't got any word yet from USL as to what.
Haven't heard anything either.
We'll see. Something might happen. But I think there's a huge amount of confidence, unfortunately, in the league, and whether that's fair or not is out for debate. But at the end of the day, if people don't have confidence in you, that is a problem. But look, they're about to launch the W League. They're about to launch the Super League. These women's leagues, and yet you've got a team on the men's side that is making jokes like that, referring to a rising player as a woman.
Yeah.
because he's getting frustrated. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, not
Seriously.
a good look. No.
I know that the guys on the Rising side were really, really, really annoyed at that.
Yeah.
It really went because look, the guy stayed on. The PA guy was still there for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
You know, it said that you'd had to talk.
This happened in the first half, right?
Yeah, it happened in the first half, and he carried on.
Yeah, Rising had some complaints.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't carry on with those comments.
Yeah.
But he carried on in the job.
Yeah.
They didn't remove him or anything. He was still there.
Yeah. No, just everything that I've heard, you know, I kind of wanted to go, but now that you're telling me all this, I'm like, I wouldn't be able to put up with it like the way that you did. But yeah, terrible stuff over there. Not only on the pitch, but off the pitch, and hoping somebody, you know, will put their foot down and this doesn't happen again. So, but yeah. Moving on from all that stuff in Vegas, you did get a chance to go to the press conference today. Any updates on injuries or anything like that?
Would you believe, with the exception of Niall Dunn, unfortunately,
Okay.
it sounds like everyone's fit.
Ooh. Okay.
James could be back.
Think he'll start on Saturday?
I don't know. You know, actually, I think we've got some comparison on that, haven't we, actually?
Yeah, let's see it.
Well, you don't have a left-footed left center back, so your passing is a little bit different. But Man is one of the more composed technical defenders that we have. He actually does a lot for us in possession and the willingness to play into the midfield. You know, they're a little bit different. It's nice to have James because he's left-footed. That's really the bottom line. But at this level, you should be able to play with both feet as a center back, and you should be able to play on both sides. But you know, we design our team a pretty specific way, and I think James and Babu and have had a little bit better communication right now. So, but Mani's done a great job. I think, you know, he stepped in, and you know, you can't say that any of the goals have really just been his fault. It's a team. You know, we're losing the ball. We're not finishing. We weren't really good in the final third. I think had we been, that game would have been very different.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge that comment by Michael, but we won't tell you why. But yeah, great stuff there. But Rick had, I think the keyword here to look for is communication. So that means that they're doing really great. I would really like James Musa back in the starting lineup with Babu. We haven't seen it in the regular season, and
I'd look forward to seeing it happen again.
Yeah.
I think that he is probably the guy that I'd pick as the number one centre back on the team.
Mhm.
You know, so
yeah,
I'm happy to see that he's hopefully fit again. Hopefully fit
yeah.
for Saturday, but you know, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, there's now I can't reveal too much about this one. I don't know too much about this, but I can tell you there was a very big, very, very tall guy at training today. Blonde. Interesting. Haven't seen him before.
You talking about
6
the bad
foot.
guy from Rocky or Rocky 4 or something? No? Okay. That was just a
But
joke
if
for
you're
me.
wondering what I'm saying, he's taller than Claudio Repettio.
Okay. So we'll just leave it there. We'll let the chat kind of decide what they want to think about that. But Reese the King says Manu has done a great job. I'm not sure if he's being sarcastic. I think he is, but
I think he's trying to be sarcastic
maybe in
there,
one
yeah.
game he was okay, but the second game maybe not that great. But now, if Musa's out 3 weeks, I think that's a bit of a stretch, right? But we'll see. We'll see what happens on Saturday. Now, Kevin Lambert, he came out pretty early in the second half in that game in Vegas. So, any update on him? You know, is he
Sounds
okay?
like he's fine. He was
Yeah.
in training today as normal. Like, I don't think there are any worries there.
Yeah. Okay. And I think the big news on Saturday was Greg Hirsch, the fact that he wasn't starting. He was on the bench, but after the game, you got told that it was a slight strain. When did that happen exactly?
I was on literally the day before the game.
Wow.
So yeah, it really left him in the lurch at that point. But hey, it's again back in training now. I think all seems to be good.
Okay. Awesome. I did have to ask you about that. So if it happened before the game, why not bring Ant with you? Did they think he was going to be able to recover by then?
Well,
that
I
extra
can't place exactly when it was, but I know they were going to do some stretching when they got off the bus. Look, at that point, this is USL, right, guys? Yeah, it is not hundreds of dollars just lying around to fly someone last minute.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that's probably where they were. And
Okay.
look, at that point, what do? They bring the guys that are going to play. They don't bring the whole team to most of these games. So kind of stuck at that point.
Gotcha. All right, cool. So yeah, how did Saturday? Obviously, San Diego's coming to town. 2-0 in the season so far. They got a game tomorrow midweek against Tulsa. How do you think the players will react on Saturday? Do you think they're coming out the way they did against Monterey, or is San Diego going to put up a pretty big fight?
When you've got a home crowd, that's always huge. It always is. They'll tell you that. Any of the players you speak to them, and they know that the passion from the South End is massive for them. Whereas when you're on the road, especially in a place that is a bit of a circus like Vegas, it's not quite the same. And look, even when Rising fans, and they were at one point chanting louder than anyone else, which wasn't hard. There was no one from Vegas that was chanting, right?
The electric company, right?
They weren't even there. They weren't even there, right? Look, I think the most noise I ever heard out of the Vegas people that wasn't piped through the speakers was when they did that whole like hands clap nonsense. And so people would clap like that. Great, wow, passionate support, real passionate support. But at one point in the first half, the Rising fans were actually chanting, "Is this a library?" All right, and you could hear it. If you listen back to the broadcast, right around the 8th minute, you can hear it on there, and then they start pumping music over the top to drown them out.
No, great
but yeah,
stuff.
the passion at home is huge. The fact that they're playing on a good pitch is huge.
Yeah.
The fact that they're at they're at home. Like I know that sounds weird saying it. I don't know why.
You get to sleep in your own bed.
Yeah, exactly.
You get to drive your
that's
own car.
what I was going for.
Okay,
That's
cool,
what I was going for. But it sounds weird when you just say, "Oh, they're at home." It's like, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are just all those different things that factor in and that just make it. And look, I expect that last week was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
It was a very big wake-up call when you lose to Las Vegas Lights.
Yeah.
I mean, how much clowning on them had we done in the week before?
Yeah.
And I still don't think we were wrong. I still don't think we were wrong.
I know, yeah.
I think that Rising were atrocious.
Yeah, they weren't good. Before we move on, any other updates from today's press conference?
Lots of little bits and pieces, but you know what? I think we'll have to see.
Save it on. Cool. All right, guys. So we're going to take a quick break and talk about DraftKings. So if you guys haven't noticed, over this past weekend, college basketball and March Madness is in full force. And if you haven't downloaded DraftKings Sportsbook app, this is the time to do it. You can turn your team's victory into your own big win. And new customers can bet just $5 on any team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. It's that simple. If they win, you win. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also bet on college hoops with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PHNX. Bet $5 on any college hoops team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. If they win, you win with promo code PHNX this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. You do have to be 21 and over. Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEPS. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And Owen, you have you said that you didn't do that great last week.
I was
with
atrocious
the odds,
last week. But let's get talking again.
Let's see,
right?
What's going on there.
So everyone is interested in watching, to a degree, the game tomorrow between Tulsa and San Diego.
They should, yeah, definitely.
Would you be surprised? Are you shocked to hear that at the moment San Diego to win that game is plus 200?
I'm very surprised. I don't.
Even if you want to go with a draw no bet, right? You're risk averse. You want to go with a draw no bet. They're plus 100.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think these DraftKings, guys gotta.
Well, you gotta go make the most of this, guys.
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah. Listen. I think we should have like a running thing.
There's one reason to go in and watch that. As much as I know it will pain anybody to put money on San Diego Loyal to win, it's a painful experience. But remember, it's always cushioned by the fact that if you lose money, San Diego have lost.
That is true.
Bet on people that you don't like. Always a great strategy.
Exactly.
But of course, there's also more stuff to look for in that San Diego game because they're coming here. And I think we should take. There was actually one other bit from the press conference today, which is Rick talking about what he's looking for in that San Diego game.
Let's hear it.
You try to find some weaknesses, you know, see if there's some tendencies. I'm sure that, you know, they'll be smart, understanding that they've got 2 road games in a short period of time, and you know, it is early in the season, so you know, we'll look at the tendencies that they've had over the last 2 games. You compare them tonight, and we'll try and get a breakdown before tomorrow morning.
The nice cop-out answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Rick.
I mean, here's the thing with San Diego, and we can talk about it now, but I actually like the way they've been playing the last 2 games. And then I think a little bit later on in that press conference, he talked saying that they're a pretty good team as well until they expect a big fight. So what are your thoughts on that?
It's interesting because I only recently realized that Corey Herzog hadn't gone back, which is a shame. It's going to take away a real target, let's say, of the South End.
Yeah.
Yeah, not his biggest fans. Look, there's quite a few players there that are good. It'll be interesting to see quite how they do. I mean, Tulsa is not, especially with 2 midweek away games, not the easiest. Oklahoma and Arizona. Ooh.
Yeah. A lot of travel.
You got travel in there. A lot of travel in there. Look, it'll be interesting to see how they do tomorrow, if they can get a win there, or what kind of team they put out even. Which game are they going to prioritize? Do they look at, and this is, you know, I guess if you're going to have to put a weaker team out, do you put the weaker team out in Tulsa where you think you'll get a result? Because that's the thing. Do you put the stronger team out in Tulsa thinking you'll get a result, or do you put the stronger team out in Phoenix thinking you'll need a stronger team to get a result? I don't know, because I mean, are they confident they'll win both?
That's the answer. I mean, that's the question.
Well, I don't know. We ask Landon and get a monotone answer, but it's...
No, I mean, Tulsa won. They beat Birmingham 3-1. So I think it's a toss-up. You know, maybe kind of just ask the guys to maybe give it a go.
I don't even think Tulsa are that good.
Yeah,
not normally.
Yeah,
I don't think player-wise they're that great. It happens. Stuff happens.
Those are the decisions I wouldn't want to be in charge of, definitely, just to see what's going on with that. But talking about the results around the USL, besides Las Vegas and Phoenix, what other result kind of surprised you there last week?
Oh, you know, I think there was a decent amount. I wasn't expecting San Diego to win in the way that they did over Sacramento. I think that beyond that, look, are there some surprises? Yeah, Loudoun winning in Red Bull. Loudoun,
best team in the league, baby.
Loudoun. And they're not actually, because Pittsburgh Riverhounds are ahead of them by the looks.
Just talking about that really quickly. That Pittsburgh Stadium is gorgeous. The backdrop,
it is, but it's very weird that you've got one side of the pitch with no stand. It? Don't you think that's weird?
They don't show that part.
It's lovely. It's lovely. No, isn't that the bit that you see with the tracks?
Yeah.
The railroad tracks. But there's no stand there.
Yeah, I know, but just the way it looks pretty nice. Also, their baseball stadium's really good because again, you get the nice little skyline there.
And you know what the best part is? They don't play in a baseball stadium.
There you go.
It's an improvement over a lot of USL clubs.
Yeah.
But yeah, Loudoun are actually second in the league right now.
Not bad.
We're talking about Loudoun. Loudoun.
Sean's like, who is this? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, Sean. What's your insight on Loudoun, Sean?
Oh man, sorry, Sean.
They play soccer or football, depending on who you ask.
They weren't good, and now they're good. So,
but they've never been good. They're awful.
Yeah.
They're a reserve team.
We'll
they're
see.
bad.
We'll
and
see.
Suddenly
We'll see what happens.
They won 2 out of 2. I mean, all right, good for them. But yeah.
So let me ask you this: New Mexico, Colorado, San Diego, and San Antonio have all won their first 2 games. Which one will continue to play really well? And then second question is, which one will fall off? Putting you on the spot
take
here.
Colorado Springs.
To continue a good streak?
Yeah.
Okay. Switchbacks. Which one will fall off?
New Mexico.
Ooh. They squeaked by El Paso, so.
They did. I think that, unfortunately, the poor pitch that they have won't help them at home.
Baseball.
It's a baseball field. Look,
yeah, even Michael agrees, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. They'll win like 2 or 3 Open Cup games, and then the season ends, apparently. Look, I just feel like New Mexico, they haven't looked the most convincing when I've seen them play. Even against Vegas at home, and now it feels weird saying that, given that we just watched Rising lose to Vegas.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I wasn't the most convinced. I think that if out of those to pick to fall off, I'd probably pick them.
Yeah.
The other one would be San Diego, maybe. I mean, as Rick pointed out today, funnily enough, that for a team that always, Landon used to complain about, I don't have an unlimited budget. We don't have the budget that other teams in this league have. We just don't, which is funny because I don't think that Corey Herzog was playing for free. Apparently they appear to have stumbled on a pot of money this year.
I saw that. That's pretty funny. Yeah.
Stumbled on a pot of money. Well, okay.
Last question about the USL. What should Rising fans look for between San Diego and Tulsa tomorrow?
Ooh.
San Diego, they have Nico Boxall, who's in New Zealand right now, World Cup qualification. And then Stoneman, he got injured last game. So back line a little shaky. Is that
team selection? I think. I think we'll learn. It can be hard because I can see a lot of rotation this week. I think that you never know if they go down the kind of route where they do tend to rotate a lot when they got a midweek fixture. Then what do you necessarily learn off of this? You don't necessarily learn a whole lot, but hey, we'll see. I think depending on what the team selection is, will depend on what you can tell. Hopefully, I know that there will be a lot of Rising fans who people never pray for injuries, but red cards you can pray for.
I mean, they had a lot of those this week, so
yeah. A lot of red cards. USL loving the red cards. How many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 across the league.
Yeah.
In
an Oprah, this week with everyone gets a
red 13 games?
Yeah.
13 games, you had 8 red cards.
Yeah, so like
Come on.
red cards a game.
Come on, USL.
Not good. All right, cool. Well, thank you for that, Owen. We're kind of wrapping up the show here, but we did want to talk about the World Cup qualifiers that are happening this week a little bit. So let's talk about UEFA, the World Cup qualifying over there in Europe. So kind of weird this year with the brackets because you have bracket A, B, and C, right? Obviously with bracket B, there's been some issues because Russia decided to invade Ukraine, so I think they're out with that as far as qualifying. But of course, we want Wales to qualify. But
oh yeah, but we've also got problems.
What's going on there?
So we are playing Austria on Thursday. Big game.
Yeah.
Big game. Austria at home.
Now are these one games or
one game.
Ooh.
And then the problem with that is that the final would be against the winner of Scotland or Ukraine. That game's been pushed off till June. But the final, if Wales win, will be in Wales. So look, both rounds in Wales. ESPN Plus, come on. You want to do it on Thursday lunchtime.
Yeah, no, that one should be really good. And then I see Poland come out of bracket B, and then I really want Portugal to come out of bracket C because if there's a World Cup without Ronaldo, I'm still gonna watch it.
But you want to take Portugal over Italy?
I don't care about Italy.
You don't care about Italy?
They didn't go to the last World Cup. Why are they gonna want to go to this one? They can win the Euros all they want.
A Forza Italia, baby.
That's the question, though, I guess. That one's the tough one, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk seriously now. Who do you think will actually come out of that? Because you've got Turkey, in addition to Italy and Portugal. Then you also got North Macedonia, who I'm sure will... If North Macedonia qualify, I think that we've really...
So I think Italy is assured maybe like that final of that bracket, but Portugal, Turkey on Thursday, that's going to be a really big game. A lot of injuries for Portugal as well. So I don't... it's tough, man, but that's when Ronaldo comes through. So check that. Let's go. We'll see what happens. South America heating up as well. Brazil, Argentina, and Ecuador are basically qualified. Uruguay, Colombia, and Peru. We'll see if Colombia, for our friend Edwin, can qualify. I don't see it. They have to pretty much win their last 2 games. And one of them is against the Uruguay, basically. So that's going to be tough. So we'll see what happens. And, of course, over here on our side, CONCACAF, Canada, Mexico, U.S., Panama. We'll see. What are you seeing? What are you seeing over here?
What for? Who's going to get out of this? Interesting question. I think that Canada.
Canada's the best team.
Yeah,
in the region.
Best team. Yeah. They're going to go through.
The thing with Canada is that once they qualify, they go into pot 3 in World Cup seeding. So whoever gets that Canadian team in the World Cup is going to suffer.
That's going to be hard.
Really
they're not going to be anywhere near a seeded team. Look, I think that it's going to be a tough one for the US. I think as much as they all like, and I say this now, a lot, to feel like they're a good team in this confederation. Unfortunately, sometimes they just aren't. Mexico away. That's going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
Costa Rica away. That is not going to be an easy game.
Yeah.
Panama in the middle. It's Panama. It's only Panama.
Panama, turn it on, man.
Panama seem to somehow pull results out against the US.
Yeah.
And I don't know how.
Yeah.
But they do. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be as well. It might be straightforward in Orlando. We'll see. But at least this time, no one will have frostbite, right?
I mean, it's been like what 13 years since a little what's it called, the Winter Bowl? I forgot what they're called. There's a name for it, but basically,
but I mean, even the ones like in January though, they were just insane.
Yeah, I mean, I was at the game in Cincinnati and I was like triple layered and I was still freezing. But
I think you're missing the real thing here. We got FIFA World Cup qualifiers, right? Which of course, Wales' game is massive, absolutely huge. But I think we need to talk about the real, March Madness. And it's not that like weird orange ball. No. We're talking about US Open Cup is started, guys.
Oh,
we've got Denton Diablos against Defeaters.
So he's watching the game during the show. That's how committed he is to the cup.
Yeah, definitely. I just put it
US
on
Open Cup flies out.
Denton are currently losing 3-2 at home, but they have got a man advantage.
We'll see.
Defeaters Kicks had someone sent off. So shout out to Michael, who pointed out that he unfortunately was missing this game to watch us right at the very beginning. But yeah, you're getting your updates from us instead, Michael.
Yeah, shout out to Michael. He's always active in the chat. Well,
shout out to the Villages actually as well. The Villages in Florida, their big 6-0 win.
Big win today in the U.S. Open Cup, and again,
which you can bet on DraftKings Sportsbook, by the way.
There you go. Look at another ad, DraftKings.
Yeah,
look at you. All right. Well, that kind of wraps it up for us, guys. Before we wrap it up, I do want to tell you about our shirt here. Let me see. Move over here. So if you guys haven't gone to Go PHNX Locker, go ahead and purchase it. We'll see you on Saturday with the game, with the shirt over there. See if you guys can get more shirts over there. And as far as our Twitter, we're at 482. We're pushing for 500. PHNX __ rising. So if you guys haven't followed us,
double the underscores, double the fun.
You guys can follow us there. That wraps it up for me. Anything else?
I'm just glad that it's going to be a little while now until we have to go back to Vegas.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, let's get that nightmare over with. But we will be back
fever
on
dreams
Thursday.
never go away.
We'll be back on Thursday. We're going to be a little bit earlier than usual on Thursday because of the Mexico-USA game. We're going to start at 4:30 that day. So make sure to tune in a little bit earlier. And then
great pre-gaming, right? Watch us,
beers.
do some shots.
I'll be drinking.
Do a lot of shots.
Yeah, especially if Mexico loses. Especially if they win.
Take more shots than Mexico does in the match.
Oh, maybe not that many. We'll see. Sometimes they don't score that much. But yeah. But other than that, we will see you on Saturday at Wild Horse Pass 4, the game against San Diego Loyo. If you haven't purchased your tickets, what are you waiting for? Go and get them so that way we can see you over there. But that is it for us here at PHNX Rising Podcast, and we will see you on Thursday. Take care.